Yo, what's going on? I went back at it with another build guide. Going to be building a Romulan Warbird. I do feel like that the Romulan and Valdor class ships would work better opposed to the Romulan Warbird here because it's more of a flat ship. With that being said, I feel like this is the best you can get it for Starfield at this scale without mods. If you had mods, you could make it longer and get the scale to improve. But we are working within limitations here. With that being said, let's jump into the build. Now that the ship is apart, we can start the build guide. Starting out on the front, we have a Nova Galactic landing bay. We then have a single Hope Tech habitat. It can be whatever habitat you want. I just chose Hope Tech because that's the one I picked out from the store. We have two Teo side cap Bs on the side of the ship. We will kind of continue those further up the kind of nose of the ship, so we'll be using a lot of those. We have a landing gear here in the middle. We then have a habitat, and I kind of hid the B-class gravity drive right here in the middle. We then have 3 landing gear behind that. And on the side of the ship here, we have a 2x1 and then a upside down Stroud Eklund slope. We will be using a lot of these. It's the rounded slope, kind of like these here. We just flip it upside down. We then have a Stroud cowling side slope. It is similar to this here. It's just we flip it upside down and put it on the bottom. Same one. And that is the base layer of the ship. That's how it looks. We will move on to our next layer. We have a Teo cowling for the front here, and then a 2x1 Hope Tech habitat, and more of those Teo side B caps on the here to make it kind of more of a rounded, clean look for the side of the ship. And then for the back kind of bottom wing structure, we have a 2x1 on the right side here, along with that Stroud Eklund slope piece that's upside down. It's that rounded one. We then have another one of those straight slopes, 2 on the front here, and then 2 more of those rounded slope pieces behind that. Moving on to the middle section, we have a 2x1. We then have a 10 ST hauler shielded cargo. I just kind of chose this one because we need some cargo space, and it's very hard to hide stuff on this ship, and it kind of has that angle. So that's the one I chose. We then continue that with a rounded Stroud slope on the side, and then we copy that same wing design over and mirror it here. So with that being said, we can grab this and move this entire structure piece to the first layer of the ship. Grab all the wings here, and then we can move them all over together. Put that on there like so. You want that habitat piece to connect to that bottom habitat because this is how we get into the ship. Moving on to our next layer, we will start building some of the wings here. We have a Stroud Eklund nose cap C piece, and then have a habitat and another habitat, 1x1s. We have a A-class engine. I just chose this because it was the flattest engine that I could pick at the store I was at. There are some B-class engines you could upgrade it to. We do have our weapons on the side. You can put whatever weapons you want. We then have, for the front here, a 1x1 habitat and a straight Stroud Eklund slope, again with those Teo side caps on the side. Again, we mirror that same wing weapon design over here. We get our 2 habitats, our engine, and that Stroud nose cap. For the back, we do have our fuel tank and our additional storage, along with our shield generator. So we can grab all these pieces and move them to the next layer of the ship. I chose this shield generator because it was the one that kind of was able to hide the most on the ship. It may not be the most functional, but you can hide it a lot better. So we're kind of building up this back section here and our wings. We can't make this as flat as I would like because we have to make everything connect. So moving on to one of the top layers here, we have a Nova Galactic cowling, 2x1 habitat. Again, those Teo side railings on the side, both sides of the ship. Starting from the center of the back structure here, we do have our Class B reactor. We have 2 Stroud Eklund slopes We then have that straight slope on the back. For one of the sides here, we have a 2x1 habitat. We have those straight sideways Stroud-Kalin slope pieces, 2 of them. And we then continue with the rounded Stroud-Ekling slopes going back to the center. And then we will mirror that on the other side. So with that being said, we can grab our wing structure or our roof, and we can move this to the top of the ship. This is going to be kind of annoying to build because not everything is going to connect until you kind of start putting it all together because of the way that the wing structure is laid out. We have to connect a lot of pieces on multiple layers instead of side by side. Put that there like so. Now for our next layer, we have another Stroud-Ekling slope. That's a straight one. We continue with those Teo side caps on both sides, a 1x1 habitat, and then we have a 3 1x1 habitats for the center, along with a Stroud-Ekling rounded slope on either side, and then that straight slope in the middle. We then have one more rounded slope on this side, and then that straight sideways slope, all Stroud-Ekling, and we continue that on the other side. Now we can grab this section and move it on top of the ship, like so. As you can see, we're trying to build like a sloped piece here for the back to get that rounded design. For our roof section here, we chose a Teo cockpit along with a 2x1 habitat and the Teo side caps on either side. We then have a straight slope Stroud-Ekling, the 2 rounded slopes on the back, and then the 2 side slopes on either side of that. We can grab this layer here and move it on top of the ship. Put it on there like so. I tried to get that curve section here, so that's why it's kind of a hard edge. And I also wanted to build the bridge of the ship kind of starting to come back a little bit. With this scale, it doesn't really work the best, but I think this is the best you can get for Starfield because we can't go any longer. If we could go longer, it would help, but we are at our build limitations. So with that being said, I think this is the best we can get it for this scale. The nose definitely is a bit big for it, I feel, but again, we're working within limitations. With that being said, let me know what you all thought of the build, and if you build it, it's not the most functional ship, I will say that. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time building more ships.